spot in the meeting. Thank you. Mayor's report.
I've got a couple things that I'd like to ask Marco, if you'd please come up. Marco Espinoza. Marco is the chapter commander of the Disabled American Veterans. And for those of you that have been around for a long time and saw the beginning of the DAV back in the year of 1920, I don't know if you're there. No. But it's the 100th anniversary this year on September 25th. It's the 100th anniversary of the organization of the DAV. And like I said, we really appreciate your service. And those of you that are out here that we know and up here that have served in the military and those that have supported those in the military, we really appreciate what you've done to make us the country that we are. And going forward, we hope we can keep this like it is. So we really appreciate that. So I'd like to read a proclamation now to Marco and the rest of the DAV. Whereas Disabled American Veterans was founded by World War I veterans on September 25th, 1920, and was chartered by the Act of Congress on June 17th, 1932. Whereas in 2020, DAV celebrates 100 years of serving veterans in the armed forces, their families and survivors and communities. Whereas DAV is dedicated to a single purpose, empowering veterans to lead high-quality lives with respect and dignity. Whereas DAV accomplishes this by ensuring veterans and their families have access to a full range of benefits available to them, by fighting for the interests of America's injured heroes, and by educating the public about the needs of veterans transitioning back to civilian life.
Here.
Whereas DAV provides free professional assistance to veterans and their families to obtain benefits and services provided by the United States Department of Veteran Affairs and other agencies. Whereas the DAV also provides outreach concerning its program and services to American people generally and to disabled veterans and their families specifically. Whereas DAV represents the interests of disabled veterans, their families, their widows, spouses, their orphans before the federal government as well as state and local governments. Whereas the DAV has fought tirelessly for equal access to critical VA caregivers benefits and services for disabled veterans of all generations, resulting in legislations to expand eligibility to those injured prior to September 11, 2001 as part of the VA Mission Act. And whereas DAV co-presents the National Disabled Veterans Winter Sports Clinic and National Disabled Veterans TEE Tournament, has organized the nationwide DAV Transportation Network to provide free transportation for veterans to VA medical appointments, operates an active charitable service trust funding the needs of local providers assisting at-risk local veterans, has built an active volunteer corps offering thousands of hours of service to our veterans and communities, offers veterans, transitioning military members and spouses access to employers through its nationwide job fair program, provides emergency assistance to veterans in need of the DAV Disaster Relief Program, and operates the Jesse Brown Memorial Youth Scholarship Program to contribute to the lives of young Americans. And whereas DAV Rich Chapter 49, the DAV Department of Florida, and the other 55 chapters across our state demonstrate their unending commitment to the ill and injured veterans of all generations. Whereas the City of Sebring is proud to honor the members of the Disabled American Veterans. Now I therefore, John Shoup, Mayor of the City of Sebring, do hereby proclaim September 25th as Disabled American Veterans Day in Sebring, Florida, and commend its observance to all citizens. So, Marco, thank you once again for our service.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Marco Espinoza. I'm the commander of DAV Ridge Chapter 49 here in Highlands County and a past department adjutant. It is my privilege and honor to be here with all of you today. This year we recognize and celebrate DAV's centennial anniversary. Those 100 years of service would not be possible without people like you and your families who have made our mission possible through your support. I would like to thank Mayor John Shoup, Councilman Tom Detman, Councilman Leonard Carlisle, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Councilman Kurt Ivey, Councilman Charlie Lawrence, Councilman Mark Stewart, City Administrator Scott. That's a toughie. Scott.
Scott.
Okay. Okay. And City Clerk Kathy Haley. Okay. Okay. With me today is Junior Vice Commander and past Department Senior Vice Commander Bradley Bowders. Okay. Adjutant Kathy Evans. Okay. Treasurer and volunteer David Haley. Yeah, back. They're all shy. Okay. Sergeant at Arms and oh, okay. No, he's not here. Sorry about that. Barbara Espinosa. She's the assistant band coordinator at the clinic over there. Gloria Bowders. She's a volunteer at the clinic. Maria Ostroff. She's also a volunteer at the clinic. And Norman Ostroff. Okay. Okay. And Ken Steele, is also another driver. Okay. Okay. So, okay. Oh, I'm sorry. And Jenny. Okay. Okay. Ramirez. Okay. I thank you so much for this. It means a lot to our veterans that they know that they're appreciated. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Got one more thing. Every year, a group of concerned citizens put on a blessing of the business. Due to some kind of pandemic that's supposed to be out there, they weren't able to do it this year. But they are going to continue on the tradition of blessing the business, and they're going to hold a community prayer affair on the Circle downtown Sebring on Sunday, August 30th at 6 p.m. They invite everyone to come to celebrate the businesses that we have here and continuing on. And we appreciate what they've done. Mayor Hensley has been kind of a kingpin of that for a long time, and we appreciate that, what you guys have done. So a lot of people put it on. But so Sunday, August 30th at 6 p.m. on the Circle.
6.
That's it?
That's it.
Okay. Councilman's concerns, comments, liaison reports. Mr. Lawrence?
Nothing from me, sir.
Nothing?
No, sir. Nothing.
But you, Mr.
No
Denton?
report.
Okay. I would just like to say to everyone, all the councilmen, the mayor, I'm thankful that I get to sit here with you guys. It's a blessing to me to be part of the city like this. And I just want to say to everyone up here, the city clerk and Scott and everybody, thanks. And our department heads, I want to say thank you for doing such a great job for the city. Okay, gentlemen, we have a consent agenda. I entertain a motion.
I move we accept the consent agenda.
I'll second that.
Yeah, I have a motion and a second. Any comments, concerns? Not. Kathy, will you poll the board?
Detman.
Yes.
Ivy.
Yes.
Lawrence.
Yes.
Stewart.
Yes.
Carlisle.
Yes. Okay, we have no old business. We'll go into new business. First is 10A. So it's a public hearing ordinance number 1451 recognizing rezoning, Methodist Church property. The background is public hearing. The city council is considering changing the zoning classifications of the First United Methodist Church property at 126 South Pine Street. The property would be rezoned from R3 to C1. The zoning planning, the city's planning and zoning board held a public hearing at their August 11th, 2020 meeting and recommended approval. The purpose of this public hearing is to receive input. Following the public hearing, the city council will consider ordinance 1451 on second and final reading. And I will turn this over to Brenda Force.
Yes.
Okay.
For the record, I'm Brenda Torres with the Central Florida Regional Planning Council, and I provided a presentation for you all to follow along. So the request is, the applicant, First United Methodist Church of Sebring, requests to rezone 2 parcels totaling 3 acres from R3 to C1 located at 126 South Pine Street in Sebring, Florida. We have provided an overview of all the information gathered from the application. You can see who the owner and applicant are, the property size. The previous hearing, we have had some, and so I'll go over that later. The future land use is downtown mixed use redevelopment. The zoning existing is R3 with the proposed of C1 commercial. So we're just gonna go over a little bit about the background as to why the church wanted to go into C1. So the church has excess educational space which it wants to lease to South Florida State College for use in conducting their adult education needs. In order to do so, the college has prepared a lease which contains a provision stating that the church must have the correct zoning to allow for the lease for educational purposes. After reviewing the zoning with the city, the church determined that it is zoned R3, which does not allow for educational purposes. So a conditional use could be applied for, but it doesn't really say how that educational purpose are extended to. Is it post-secondary or primary? So the church has been there for over 100 years and has no intentions of using the property for anything but a church. In an event that the use other than educational use was requested as a minor use, the church would have to come forward with another conditional use. And by doing the single rezoning, it would help minimize the need for conditional use approval in the future. We have provided a location map for you. The 2 parcels are highlighted in yellow. They currently have the church on it and is located at 126 South Pine Street. Existing future land use is downtown mixed use. With the proposed rezoning, the future land use does not have to be changed. The existing zoning is R3. R3 multiple family district is a multifamily zone that allows single family and 2 family dwellings with a lot area of 15,000 square feet for multifamily and a maximum density of 12 units per acre. The proposed is C1 commercial district, and I have highlighted where vocational schools including trade, secretarial, art and professional, music, dancing and dramatic school is allowed within this district, and why the C1 was proposed. Surrounding existing uses, there's office, school, residential, another church, single family residential, and an office spaces. Findings of facts, public facilities and service analysis. As such, there are no additional impacts anticipated to public facilities and services such as potable water, wastewater, traffic circulation, drainage, recreation, solid waste, and school concurrency. The proposed zoning classification of C1 commercial is compatible with the consistent with downtown mixed use redevelopment future land use designation. At this time, we can open up for any comments, but like we mentioned, the planning and zoning board did vote 4-1 in favor of forwarding the proposed zoning to the city council with a recommendation of approval.
Okay. Is there any public input, comments, or questions about this ordinance from the audience? Any councilman?
Yes. As usual, I have to recuse myself from the 10A and B because I'm currently an employee at South Florida State College, so
Okay.
there's a conflict there.
Okay, no one else? Close the public hearing. Do we have to do this motion here?
No, so we'll do that as part of 10B.
Okay. Okay, we'll go to 10B. They have an attorney that sits beside me. He keeps me out of jail. So, okay, item 10B is ordinance number 1451, rezoning Methodist Church city property, second reading. Ordinance 1451 will rezone the Methodist Church property located at 126 South Pine Street from R3 to C1, which was just explained to us. The ordinance was passed on first reading at council's August 4th, 2020 meeting. The ordinance is on your agenda and second final reading. Mr. Swain?
The ordinance is entitled, an ordinance changing the zoning classification of lots 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14, block 51, and the closed contiguous alleyways, town of Sebring, second edition, according to the plat thereof as recorded in transcript book, page 7 of the public records of Highlands County, Florida, and lots 1 through 8, and 9A, 10A, 11A, 12A, 13A, and 14A, block 51, Palmhurst subdivision, according to the plat thereof as recorded in plat book 1, page 49 of the public records of Highlands County, Florida, from city R3 to city C1, providing for severability, providing for conflict, and providing an effective date.
Thank you. Any comments? We need a motion.
I'd like to make a motion that we pass ordinance 1451 on second and final reading as presented.
I'll second.
Okay, Kathy, we got a motion and a second. If there's no comments from the audience or up here, poll the board.
Detman.
Yes.
Ivy.
Recuse.
Lawrence.
Yes.
Stewart.
Yes.
Carlisle.
Yes. Okay, 10C. It's the GFNY International Cycling Event. The background is a Grand Fondue New York, which is GFNY, is a New York-based company that hosts cycling events throughout the world. GFNY currently hosts 2 events in the United States, New York City and Santa Fe, New Mexico. A third event has been approved for Sebring for October 24th and 25th, 2020. And to present this would be Casey Hart and Christy Vasquez. Good evening,
Thank you,
ladies.
gentlemen. So, Christy Vasquez, CRA Executive Director, Casey Hart, Lead Consultant for Marketing for the TDC. As we promised when we were in front of you in January, we brought the event to you, but promised we would come back after we'd had a meeting with the city's special event committee to go over what the final cost would be that you were so gracious to waive at that meeting, not knowing any of that information. So your packet has some information as far as some additional COVID measures that the event organizer is planning to take. She would have loved to have been here, but they're actually planning for their race in France as of right now. So they are still moving forward with events, and we are still planning to move forward with our event slated for October 25th. We do have the addition of a kids race that will take place on Saturday the 24th. As of right now, there are 12 kids who are registered for the event, 330 registered riders from 21 countries and 16 states for the adult competition. We are still hoping to have 800 to 1,000 riders for the event. Obviously, COVID will throw some kind of monkey wrench in there depending on what the travel restrictions look like at that point in time. Obviously, the attendance could be less than that, but still planning for an event as large as we discussed initially. The COVID measures were in your packet. Does anybody have any questions about those? We will do our best to answer them as well. I don't think I have missed anything. Casey, have I missed anything? No? Okay. You guys have any questions? We will do our best to answer them.
I guess I have one. Are you gonna have any large group gatherings for trophies, that type of thing?
I do believe that they have outlined in their COVID measures some of the measures that they are taking in their France race that they plan to bring here. There won't be any large gatherings when it comes to the pasta bash. It will be something that's take and go in to-go containers. They'll be controlling how the chutes work, both for finishers of the race and being able to space some of that out, as well as when they do start the race, having different heats to where the racers are more spread out than they would typically be.
Okay, thank you.
Well, hopefully by October, things will loosen up
We
a lot
certainly hope
more.
so.
And I know Honduras is opening up. They're allowing people to fly in and out now and getting back to somewhat normal. So maybe other countries are doing the same.
With this being an outdoor event too, that's working in our favor for
Right.
it, and that, you know, large groups don't necessarily congregate potentially in the beginning of the race, but they're taking measures for that to where all of that's addressed and they're as safe as possible to where the event can still happen.
Okay, anyone up there, any council?
No, I'm just really grateful you're doing it. Seems like this will be a very needed thing in our community. So thank you for working so hard.
Absolutely. Pleasure.
Yes.
Yeah, make a motion that we approve the event as presented.
I'll second that.
Okay, Kathy, we have a motion and a second. Is there any comments from the audience? Anyone would like to ask these young ladies any questions? No more up here? Poll the board. Did you, you said waive the fees?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, okay. Poll the board.
Detman. Ivy.
Yes.
Lawrence.
Yes.
Stewart.
Yes.
Carlisle.
Yes. Okay, thank y'all. Thank you for all your hard work. Item 10D is the community prayer service. Background, George Hensley at our August 4th, 2020 meeting briefed council on an open-air community-wide prayer service that was being planned by several churches in Sebring, including the First Methodist Church, Wings of Faith, Grace Bible. It is hopeful that many as 13 or 15 churches will participate. And Pastor David Giuliano, George, would y'all like to come up and
Kind of jumped the gun on you, didn't I? Should have sent the flyer out tomorrow.
I was very intentional about not sending any flyers out until after this meeting tonight, so.
I got mine this morning.
Oh, well, you didn't get it from me, sir.
Linda did a good job, let me put it.
Oh, yes, I did receive that, so, yes. So, really, there's nothing more to say other than what we said to the City Events Planning Committee. This is the result of a very heavy burden that has been laid on the heart of one of our lay members. And a number of pastors have come together in our community. And we have no agenda other than to cry out for healing and for justice and for God's blessing on our community and on our country. And that's all we're about. And we hope to start at 6 and finish sometime between 7 and 7:30, and to ensure that our footprint on the city and on the circle is as light as it can be. We have addressed all the safety concerns that the Planning Events Committee raised. We intend to encourage social distancing, certainly masks for anyone who finds themselves in a vulnerable category, and just minimize risk to anyone and everyone involved.
well, you have a great agenda. Because we need this in our country
That's right.
very much. Anyone want to ask any questions? Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Come to the podium. Yes, ma'am. We want to know who you are.
My name's Terry Mendel, and I'm a Christian, and I love prayer services, so when would this be? Is that good?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
It will be Sunday, August 30th, beginning at 6 p.m. And my understanding is that the streets will be blocked off well before that. So I would encourage you to park in one of the public parking lots or in one of the church parking lots. Bring a lawn chair. That will help folks to social distance, and that's important for your comfort and for your safety.
Okay. Any other questions from the audience?
I'd just like to make a comment and say that we appreciate very much what you guys are doing, and especially all the churches coming together I think it's a great thing for our community. I know that you guys also came together and did some, I'm gonna say interviews with some of our different leaders at, about a month or so ago, and I think that that was a very timely thing as well. And I would like to go ahead and make a motion and approve the event as presented with a waiver of fees.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion, a second. Any comments? How about we done up here? Poll the board.
Detman,
Absolutely.
Ivy,
Yes.
Lawrence.
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
Carlisle.
Yes. Okay,
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're welcome. 10E, lighting the circle pink. This is an event of, done it last year. It looked very nice, lit the circle up with pink lights, and it was, very nice. I liked it.
A lot of people did, thank you.
Yeah, it's too bad it couldn't stay up, but then it wouldn't have the impact.
True, agreed.
So, would you ladies like to introduce yourself and tell everybody what you're up to?
Sure. My name is Christy Harris, and I'm the graphic designer and social media coordinator for Naughty Girl.
And I'm Diana Albert, and I'm the founder and breast cancer survivor of Naughty Girl.
Welcome.
We were hoping to be able to present to you all this great plan for an event and a lighting ceremony to kick off Breast Cancer Awareness Month. But as we got closer and things got crazier, we felt like it wasn't in the best interest of our nonprofit to kind of corral people together in such a way. Even though our crowd was going to be a little bit small, we figured maybe this year wasn't the best year to do it. So we're simply here to ask permission to put the lights out again. And last year we did the lights, and then we also did 2 circle banners. We were gonna have to split that with the Children's Museum, but I believe they've also canceled their event for that same week in October. So we'd like to extend that to 4 circle banners, but that's it.
So just waive the fees.
The waive of fees, yes.
Take care of everything else.
Okay. Well, I sure want to say thank you for doing this. It's an important thing.
We, with immune systems and it just didn't make sense to
Right.
encourage something to bring people together. And it still was very, very effective.
Right.
Very much so. We got a lot of positive feedback from it last year that we didn't even know how it would move people, so.
It affects a lot of people's lives.
Yep.
It does. Anyone up here want to say anything?
I'm all for it.
Thank you.
Anybody from the audience? Well, we need a motion, guys.
I'll move it.
Second.
So you got it, Kathy?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, since there's no questions and anything, you girls are getting off light this year.
We're not gonna wear pink this year.
I know, I
And
know.
I've worked out with Bob how to get banners and lights to the Public Works Department, so we're good there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, gentlemen.
We're ready. We just need October 1st.
Right.
Things to settle down.
Amen.
Thank
Poll
you.
the board, please, ma'am.
Detman.
Yes.
Ivy.
Yes.
Lawrence.
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
Carlisle.
Yes. Where's my 10? Yeah. I think I got it. I did, I got it right here. Thank you. Okay, well, 10F, the West Lake Jackson Infrastructure, Craig Fuller, would you, come up and,
Hey, good evening.
how are you?
Good. Mayor, Council, thank you for having me. Yeah, it's just as an update, there was a significant delay in the funding, but it couldn't have kind of happened better, meaning because of some of the delay, they were actually able to offer you completely free financing on it for the full period.
All right.
And you will be eligible for that once we go into further development of the project also. So it's presently, as soon as the funding gets approved and comes in, because we have basically done everything at risk. We haven't built anything. We're just kind of done prelim development. The only thing that's incurred any actual cost has been Angie Brewer and Associates, who are working with us to acquire the funding.
Okay.
So as soon as it comes in, we will begin with geotech and basically subsurface investigation to find out what's down there, what we need to improve, and the area, just so the public's aware of discussion, is more or less between the southwest corner of the lake, where Lakeview comes off onto kind of near Don Jose, that area, all the way up to Fairmont. It's about 2.8 miles. Your staff, Ken and I, walked the entire area, found inlets we didn't know exist, mapped them with it's called like a KMZ file, so you can so we could create a really easy go-to method for surveying each of these structures that exist. And the reason for surveying them is, and that'll be one of the first steps, is we want to find out and calculate what the capable conveyance is, and then find out if things need to be resized. Some things will remain, but some will need to get a little bigger. And then what we'll do is look at different methods for treating the runoff that comes into the lake, and that'll have the added benefit of improving your water quality in your lake, but also likely improving, you know, the values over time of that lakefront property. And it will hopefully, with you know, not hopefully, it will, if once everything gets installed over time, it will decrease the amount of flooding that happens at specific locations, because there are some large areas and there are some very small that transfer kind of water through there. Your watershed is such that obviously it's kind of, that's at the center of it, and it kind of flows down into Little Lake Jackson, that eventually goes on and, you know, goes into the more regional systems. So what this is going to allow is the water to drain more properly straight into the lake. However, put treatment in line to interrupt it and slow it down, so that you can gather some of the solids that might come through. And so what we'll be doing is first geotech to figure out what the subsurface looks like, what the repairs to the road that might be needed, minimize that, because really the purpose of this is to check out the number two is check out the size, the conveyance, and treatment method, and to improve the lake water quality. Then three is we'll investigate the subsurface sanitary conditions. Luckily, you guys have already have the CCTV done, so we'll review that, and we'll verify you know, areas that are maybe caving in or might need improvements. And we just finished 10 miles of that for Polk County, and so I think Bob will be happy that a lot less, Bob Bogus will be very happy, a lot less water will probably come into his wastewater plant. And you know, because that's invariably what happens when you improve these. And like as a reference check, because I wanted to find out how well this similar project was doing in Polk County, in their southwest area, kind of similar conditions, high water levels. This time of year, they typically average 3.3 million gallons a day at this facility. Now they're averaging 2.1. So 1.5 million less gallons per day coming into the facility, which is a phenomenal amount of money.
It's huge, yeah.
Yeah. So there could be some really unintended but great benefits for other systems. So as we move then further, we'll, you know, again, we're sectioning out and determining where each of the basins is. And then this will, once we get to a point where we figure out all of the various repairs and what areas of the roads actually needs to be rebuilt, because it, like I said, at first appearance, all the road doesn't look that bad. It looks like what's under the road is kind of failing, which is kind of great news, I guess I'll say. Is it's you know, because the roads can be very expensive if you have to replace the whole thing. But if it's just the, you know, the top, it's not so bad. And then we'll come up with a plan which will give different options, and we can then move forward with the most cost-effective for going to design. And not that these times are great, but they are great for grants and loans. And so there's some that are out there, and you know, I'm getting prodded now. If we go too early, you're likely to get a lower percentage. So I'll just caution you on that. If you heard about some of the new grants that I heard that we're getting a couple shots at it. We hope to develop this a little further. We didn't want to say incur the costs early, and then have it not be reimbursed. So, but there is that option. I don't want to take it away from you. There is some options of seeking grants early, but the percentages are lower. So, and again, this will give an overall facilities plan for the next step on the SRF, which is a full-blown design. It'll take all the data we've done and then not just calculate the sizes, but actual exact points more and exact sizes, and then that will give us a more exact cost rather than like a range for going to construction, and then each of these can get wrapped into the next. So we hopefully foresee that if you keep wrapping it in, you may be able to get zero interest, for quite a while, which would be fantastic. So, and then I just want to open up for questions after that. Thank you for your time.
Well, I have one. So basically, right now, most of that water, or maybe all of that water, does not get treated at all before it goes to the lake, correct?
Almost none.
Right.
Yes.
So will all of the water get treated then of some sort or another, whether it's, trying to remove the solids or just parts of it?
We are going to recommend, especially the part that runs directly off. All of that, meaning like straight from the road, all of that we recommend get treated. I'm not certain if there will be as much benefit if it's, I'll say, like the overflow from Lake Sebring coming through. There might not be as much benefit, and the size is gigantic. So what we will look at is, and we can, what we're proposing is to kind of look at it and figure out what the cost would be on what you should pursue, because if it costs, if the treatment option, if we can't put it there, one, or if the cost would be too great, we probably wouldn't recommend it right now, but at your option, we could include it. If we're getting grants, we'd absolutely would.
Yeah, so basically the thought at this time is to treat some of it, but maybe not all of it.
Yes, all of the direct runoff, which is the highest probability of having like grit, but maybe not all of the partially, I won't say treated, but semi-treated. As it runs through a swale, there is what they call credit for treatment, because you have some of the solids deposition that falls out as it kind of goes there. But for most of the large conveyance, we probably wouldn't, but at your option, we could pursue that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Any other questions?
Thank you very much. And I believe at the last meeting, I believe you approved the zero interest loan. I know it's old news now, but I was at a planning meeting at the same time. So
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Greg.
Appreciate it. Alrighty, we'll move on to 10G, and this is Mr. Bogus, temporary suspension of collection actions due to the COVID-19 pandemic, second update.
Good evening.
Good evening, Bobby.
At your last meeting on July the 7th, council asked me to come back, give you another update on where we stand with our delinquent customers, and also to give you an update on how we can communicate with these people. So that's what I'm gonna try to do tonight, is give you all those updates. I've broken the classes of customers into two divisions. One division is commercial, the other was residential. On the commercial side, there hasn't been a whole lot of change, very little change. It's been pretty much steady since we've been tracking it. The residential side, though, has changed. It actually has an increase of 138 customers that are now subject for disconnection over what it was last month. And the amount in arrears has also increased almost $13,000. So that gives us a total outstanding balance of almost $64,000 at this point. We have been able to come up with a way of communicating with these people. We're going to use either automated telephone calls or by email. And we think we can probably reach at least 95% of the people that would fall in this category. Did hear from the county, and unfortunately the CARES Act money is not available to pay utility bills. And apparently the reason for that is it overlaps with some other programs they have, such as the SHIP program, which allows money for living accommodations utility bills and that sort of thing. So since they're overlapping, they wouldn't allow this money to go that way either. So it looks like the best option for our customers that are in an arrears situation is for us just to work with them individually, work out some kind of a payment plan, and, give them a chance to make installment payments on these past due balances.
I think, Bob, under that CARES Act though, I think if there's a way that we can communicate, there's individual CARES Act money available. I think it's $1,500 per individual that can apply for that, and that it's to use at their discretion if they've been impacted. And I'm
Okay.
not saying they have to pay our bills, but it might be a good public service to say, hey, we understand,
Sure.
you're behind with us, but also if you're behind with other bills, there's this money available through the CARES Act. Now,
We could
but I think
certainly-
I think the first round closes out Friday,
Right.
and that's the 25%. And if they fund that, I think they get the other 75%. I don't know if it's 25% at a whack or what, but it may be a public service to say, hey, times are tough. We understand it. We see it. Just kind of a reminder where they're at with us, but also that there is funds available on a personal basis. The county can't give it direct to us, but if it goes to the person, they can pay their past due bills or feed their family, or some people may not know about it, but this may be a way that we know these people are hurting, at least to make them aware that money's available for whatever purpose. So.
Certainly direct them to the proper
Right.
website or telephone
Right.
numbers, I'm sure, yeah.
And Bob,
Yes.
did the county indicate that the SHIP money was available?
Kurt, I didn't ask that specific question, so I really don't know. We didn't.
Might be something we can refer people to as well.
Yes, sir. Did also want to mention kind of how we stand against some of our neighboring cities. Lake Placid, is my understanding, still has not, they're still suspending all collection activity, and that includes late payment penalties. Avon Park, however, though, never did apparently suspend their late fees, but they have now started to resume normal operations as far as non-payment discounts. And we will do whatever council's discretion is.
Well, I'm gonna maybe suggest that before some of these people get too far behind, that maybe we need to go back to our regular collection, and then also give you the ability to work with these people that may be 2 or 3 or 4 months behind, and set up a payment schedule for them. Obviously, if this were continue on at $13,000 each month, growing to that degree, some of these people, I believe, would get so far behind that it would be extremely difficult for them to catch up. So my suggestion would be that we go ahead and suspend what we were doing with suspending the collection, but also give you the ability to work with the people so that, hopefully nobody will get their utilities shut off.
Have you contacted any of these people, Bobby, at all?
No, we haven't, Lenore, not yet.
Okay.
Maybe a good thing to do would be like put an October 1st date to resume collection. And that way you got a month and a half. You have one more billing cycle for most of them.
Well, that was kind of gonna be the suggestion to council is if you want to resume normal operation, make it effective, either September or preferably October. And give us this remaining time to kind of forewarn people. And I think that's what Duke Energy sort of did. And it wasn't quite that much of a notification, but give people a chance to, and some are doing it now. So when they come in and make a payment, they want to
Sure.
know what they can do to make arrangements to get it caught up.
Yeah, I like that very much, and work with them, whatever
Sure.
they can do, just start collecting something in October. And, maybe not even the whole bill, but something, so
Yes,
they
sir.
start paying again.
Okay?
So do we want to make a motion like that?
Do we need to make a motion?
Is this something we need to make a motion on?
Attorney, we need a motion?
Did you formally stop collection activities through council action?
No, it wasn't through council action. It was more of a staff decision, but we did inform council we had done it. And,
You may not have to, but it may make it easier for them, explaining to customers that this is the date they've been given by
Oh, okay.
council to work towards.
Use Lenard's name when you make that.
Well, I think always in office a little worried about it being overrun with phone calls and people in the
It's
office.
the
but,
mayor.
what we're
It's,
doing.
it's the mayor's fault because he never votes.
Okay.
You want to make that into a motion, Charlie, with October?
Okay, yes, I will. I'll make a motion that we start resuming collection of the delinquent accounts beginning October 1st, and give the utilities director the authority to work with the people in order to spread out those payments as necessary.
I'll second that.
Okay, does anyone in the audience want to speak on this? Any more up here? Nope. Kathy, will you poll the board?
Detman.
Yes.
Ivy.
Yes.
Lance.
Yes.
Stewart.
Yes.
Carlisle.
Yes. Okay,
Thank you.
we're going to the business of the audience. Mr. Ibanez?
F-13A.
Good evening. Tell us who you are and.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Gustavo Ibanez. I've been a resident of Highlands County for over 4 years already. I've been building houses in the area for sale. And I like this county a lot, but when I moved my family over here. Great county. Anyhow, my family comes from a big food industry in South America. Our origins are from Spain. And as we brought you guys, we've been manufacturing and distributing cheese for quite a while. As we got together back in Christmas, my family and I, and we needed to build a cheese plant somewhere. Our biggest market is United States, of course. We own a company in South Florida called Intermark, which has a restaurant brand called El Latino, which is very successful. It's in big markets like Publix and Winn-Dixie, Walmart, etc. Then we opened 2 wholesale companies, one in Miami, one in New York, where we sell in total over and we have the biggest one in South America. We sell over 2.6 million pounds of cheese a year. So with that being said, we decided to open a cheese plant to give it a try for us. And we decided to do it here in Central Florida. Sebring. So we already purchased a lot, industrial 2, in South Georgia Boulevard, 7565 South Georgia Boulevard. We went through all the procedures and we, environmental surveys and so forth. The road was clear and was already rated. We bought a metal building already from Durabim, 4,000 square foot building. It was supposed to be delivered by the end of October. And when the process, we start pulling permits. Through that, we're trying to generate, as manufacturers, around 32 employees to start, and produce between 1.5 to start tons of cheese a day. We bought most of the equipment. Some of the equipment is already here in Sebring. We bought a 900 square foot cooler. We sit it on our friend's yard here on Parkway Trusses, and some of the cheese equipment is already here, also in one of my warehouses. When I went to get permits out, we need gas, we need electricity, and we need water. Being water, one of the main elements needed to manufacture cheese. As each individual batch, we have to clean our equipment, sanitize it, some with water. To my surprise, I went and talked to Mr. Bogus and Kathy at the Civil Utilities, and they wanted to bring water to our site, $12,000. I went to the gas department, to Cook's Gas. I talked to Mr. Jeremy, and they're gonna bring the gas for free, our facilities, for the boilers. I spoke to Duke Energy. due to our consumption of power, they're gonna bring the poles for free, our facility. I'm not asking city councilors or city utilities to give us anything for free. But we need the cooperation of the city and the county to make this happen here in this county. I heard rumors on the streets that they're building a steel factory in Polk County that they tried to come here. Everybody claims, oh, we don't get any help for anybody. That's what they left, but nobody says the specifics. I need the help of the community, the city, and the county to make this factory happen here in Sebring. I spoke to several people already. I spoke to Mr. Hoffman 2 days ago. I went to the county and I spoke to a lady named Megan whatsoever. As a matter of fact, I went to the engineering department to get the right permits for engineering site development. To my surprise, the lady named Dina had told me that the county doesn't have a classification for factories or manufacturers, only for wholesale. How can we bring business to this county, or manufacturing business to this county, if we're not even cooperating? So I spoke to Megan yesterday because she wouldn't call me back, and she said she spoke to somebody in the city. I don't know what city administrator or assistant city administrator, Mr. Huffman, about the issue. She told me to come and present it to you guys, to see what you could do for us, and then the county will make a determination on how they could help us out too. Bottom line, we need help on the water connection. There is another lot next to us, and she spoke to Megan with me over the phone, owned by Diane DeMoras, where she told the county she's building right next to our lot a big call center. So it's not just us, and you guys already bringing sewer to the health department across the street from us. I mean, 1,000 feet to be more precise. Thank you, Councilors. Any questions?
I have a question. How large is your facility?
It's about a 4,000 square foot building. To start, that you're going to be manufacturing a special cheese called cotija cheese, which is used in the bakery industry as a base for breads and stuff. That's the first cheese. We have also, down south, we have a contract to make some Spanish call it cheese fingers, special type of cheese. So it depends how it goes here, we'll probably open a second building in the same place. It all depends how it goes in the first building. We don't want to make future promises if we don't get the first one made.
You get all your permits and everything, what's your time frame?
Okay, if we get, right now, we're speaking to the engineering company just to do the building design. We're supposed to be operational by January 1st. We get everything's bought and paid for, the building, equipment. We should build it.
How much is your investment?
Our investment is $500,000. Those self-funded so far. And it's well explained on the presentation I gave you. How the money's going to be invested, how much jobs we're going to be creating, how much we're going to spend in salaries the first year, what our revenue is going to be.
So $12,000 is a hindrance to you.
No, it's not the money itself. It's the principle that we don't get any. All I've done so far, every time I try to get something, I find a brick wall right in front of me. So now I understand why people just give up. I'm not gonna give up on this county. This county has been very good to me. Very good to me so far. I can't complain about the county. No point that I moved here.
Do you have any idea how much water you're gonna need?
Okay, let me explain you the process. At this point, I don't have exact numbers.
Yep.
But every time, by Department of Agriculture and Florida Food and Drug Administration, every time you do a batch of cheese, you have to clean every equipment. So we use an equipment called Clean in Place CIP. On the regulations, have to run water, circulating water with some chemicals for at least 30 minutes. And every equipment has to be washed. No matter what, the plants have to be washed. Floors and walls, every day by regulations. It's gonna be a lot of water.
I'm just trying to
Right,
maybe
I mean,
anticipate a little bit
it will
how
pay
long
back.
it will take to
You-
get
For
our
sure, you
investment
guys are gonna
back.
get paid back whatever investment you guys do in the use the one. That's what Duke Energy are doing with us too. Duke Energy being a private entity, ain't gonna give something for free. We don't think they're gonna get their money back. Same as the gas company here.
Well, I want to say I appreciate you coming here and taking a look at Highlands County, Sebring and whatnot to do this. And of course, we do need more jobs around here. And it is people like you that create that. And personally, I like to see as little government regulation as possible, but we do need government regulation and rules in order to keep everything reasonable. But again, I just want to commend you for bringing your business here.
I will try to bring this one as soon as possible.
Yep.
Any questions from the audience or anybody want to ask?
Yeah, Bobby, you wanna speak toward this any?
Well, hey,
How
how
are
you
you?
doing? Good. We've worked up the cost, and
All right.
fortunately, we're over 1,000 feet away from being at this particular location.
We have that.
We got that, yeah.
We got it.
Yeah, we got it, thank you.
Oh, you got it? Thank you.
Yeah.
And what the ordinance allows us to do is whenever we see a need to oversize or, size the line for future growth and distribution purposes, it allows us to put in a line oversized, but we don't charge the customer for that extra capacity. We only charge, in this case, for the 2-inch pipe, even though we're gonna be putting an 8-inch pipe in. So we're looking at a sizable investment just to do that. We did not charge anything on this quotation for engineering. Fortunately, this is a line extension which requires DEP permitting. To get the permit, you have to have it engineered. So that's cost that we're absorbing as well. So I thought the quote that we gave Gus was a fair quote. It's all inclusive. It's not only for the line extension, it's for the directional bore we have to do to get under the road to his side of his side. It's also for the meter, and everybody pays that. So I just kind of at a loss as to.
There's no sewer there, is there?
No, so there is not.
Not yet.
It's coming.
We're working.
Bob, how long, if you built that, how long would it take you to make that build that extension?
We would do it in-house, Kurt. We'd use
Sure.
our own staff, so it probably, once we got mobilized, it probably wouldn't take more than probably 2 days at most.
Two days? Okay.
Is there other properties on that 1,000 feet, Bob, that would use the service now, or is it all vacant?
There is, looking at the map, there are some properties that are there, but not sure, we haven't approached anybody. Now, I know Gus just mentioned there's somebody, I guess, just the next lot over. We do often, whenever we're out in residential areas, and we're extending lines down to, somebody lives down the end of the street wants water. What we suggest they do is contact their neighbors and see if anybody else wants, and then we'll kind of divide that cost up amongst the people that really want to get connected. So, if somebody else wants to get on, then certainly we could divide that cost amongst however many say they'd like to get on water. But at this moment, Mayor, I don't know if anybody wants water or not.
Looks to me like his timeline is faster than typically what we would do with a project like this, because job creation project is, we'd apply for CDBG money to get this extension done. And you'd be eligible for up to $750,000 of CDBG dollars for job creation.
How many
given
jobs
that-
are you gonna create there?
He said
Describing it.
32.
32.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need people to run the plant, people that are gonna help with the cheese, maintain the plants, so forth. We are gonna be running 2 shifts a day, 8-hour shift, 7 days a week. Milk is delivered every day. So first year, we're planning to create at least 32 jobs with a cost of $940,000 average. And I did mention, Mr. Diane DeMora is building right next to us. She's talking to the county about it. Next to us, a Cole Facility Center, big building. She says, she informed me, she spoke to the building, to the county, project people. She's gonna have over 64 employees, and there gonna be some kind of monitoring for the INAs and everybody? I don't know if you are aware of it, but she's talking to the county about it right now. No, those are county properties, the straps, races the county. There's somebody already in the making of, next, big building next to me.
That's right next door.
Yeah, right next to our lot, belongs to Diana de Morris.
Maybe we could have Bob check with them and, see if they are gonna wanna get on board also, and that would reduce the cost.
We could canvass the area, fill with Black Horse too, and see if there's anybody else.
We have across the street from our lot, the beer distribution and parking space.
Yeah, right across the street's that small beer distribution.
I would think that'd be a good idea, because I can't see why they wouldn't want city water. Of course, they have to sign the paper.
And then also, Scott, how long would it take you to apply for some grant money?
My estimation probably and it depends on the cycle, when you get into the cycle. I don't know when the cycle starts, I'd have to talk to Fred about that, but that's probably a 9-month process, would be my guess.
This is only about a $30,000 project though, right? Total, if you put the 8-inch line in.
It's gonna be, I don't think it's gonna be that, well,
Yeah, probably pretty close.
You had,
Yes.
Mr. Ibanez was about 12, and then you had the 13 plus the engineering. So for a grant, I mean, you'd be, I think what needs to happen here is that, Bob, you need to kind of look in that area to see what the future, what kind of revenues we can gain from that. And then kind of get back with staff and maybe staff, because we pretty much got hit with this today.
Yeah.
And it's like, all of a sudden you say, hey, we want, and understand we want your business. Honest to God, we want people coming. That steel plant went in, by the way.
Right.
So that steel plant is up there.
Right.
But,
We don't business to go away from the cement, trust me. I won't
right.
take that business.
Well, we
I won't
want
do
you.
it.
We'd love to have you here, but I think to throw this onto the council and all of a sudden you gotta kind of make this decision without making an informed decision is not it, but it
This
can
is not
happen
gonna be-
quickly.
This is not gonna be a deal breaker for us, we're gonna do it no matter what.
Right.
And, the reason I ended here, I didn't know where to go. When I
Right.
spoke to Bob, I said, Bob, where should I go to talk to?
Yeah.
People to help us out.
Yeah.
I mean, wherever I have to go, we'll do it, He said, well, talk to the city council, they're the one that makes the rules. So I came to the city council, and then Joe Dean and Megan from the county, I went and spoke to them, and I've been all over the place.
Okay.
In the last 3 days.
I'll give us a chance to talk to the EDC IDA also, to see what kind of plans they have in that, but I think that's, hey, we want the business.
I was proposing the county and the city
Yeah.
that if you are willing to carry a third of the 12,000, I will carry the other third, and have the county carry the other third.
Right.
I mean, this is not just someone else, this is a manufacturing plant that's gonna stay here for years.
Right. Yeah. I
And
certainly-
we will stand for sure.
I certainly would like to help you out however we can, because we do want companies
I'm
like
gonna-
yours
I'm
here.
gonna stay here. I'm building an average of 10 houses a year here in Sebring, residentials. and I
Whatever,
love this county.
whatever we
Everybody's
can
very-
do
very
that,
friendly.
I would certainly like to try to move in that direction, especially creating 32 jobs. That's a significant number.
Yeah, I think we all agree with that. We want you here.
We're staying here, we're going nowhere.
But you're
Good.
definitely gonna pay for the meter, I can tell you that right
We all gotta pay for the meter. Thank you, guys.
Thank you for coming and,
I'll keep in touch with you guys.
all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Very much.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Bobby. We have one more, from the audience. Mr. Bowman?
That's not so in depth. The ordinance 26-183, this is concerning the aesthetics of a metal building that I was unaware of, but we're putting the new metal building up at 1086 Lakeview, which is Custom Prints. that
To
burned
replace the one that burnt down.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, we're redesigning the footers and all that's been redesigned, but the aesthetics of the deal, with this code, I'm a little bit confused with it. What we can do and what we can't have to do and what we can get away with doing. So, you got a vertical rib panel, and that's, I get it, you don't really wanna have that look. So, do we need to cover all 4 walls? Or can we cover a storefront and a band on the bottom of the building? Or, I mean, the back wall shouldn't need to be covered at all, cause there's nothing back there. So, we're just talking about a lot of cost for the owner, for custom prints.
Absolutely.
So,
Did-
I mean, I got several designs that I'm working on, and it's probably gonna help other people that I've talked to in the community that they need some design too.
Yeah.
And I got some good stuff going on with it, but it's very expensive.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Have you pulled the permit already?
I did,
Hmm.
for the shell.
Just the shell.
So basically, he agreed not to do anything with the exterior, he's putting
Yes.
the footer in.
Right.
And steel.
I saw him cutting out the slab, yeah.
So we're still working on this design here, and what's ever gonna work with everybody to make them happy, but either way, we have to do it. I mean, we gotta make it happen.
Yeah.
So, short of buying new panels, which that can't happen because it's designed, engineered for the vertical panel. And there's 4 or 5 different ways that we can make it better,
Sure.
but it just costs a lot of money, so.
Right.
I'm asking, can we do, a band on 2 sides and a storefront all the way with some kind of a,
So I think the building before had
Ethos.
nothing, did it?
Nothing.
It was just straight metal
Yeah.
building. So that would be quite the improvement, actually.
well, I get all that, but the
But-
different color coordinates and all that.
Yeah.
It's gonna look good, but
Yeah.
as far as doing the whole building, looking at about $13 a foot for the ethos. Drive it system.
Where do we leave that discussion, Scott?
That's on an
So-
ordinance about the,
So.
It's in the ordinance.
It's in
Exterior,
the
right?
ordinance, I think
Maybe you wanna
Bob
ask
probably
Greg to
got it
kinda
pulled up
clarify
in
that.
front of him, so he can read you the ordinance.
The ordinance as worded would not allow a partial covering. It says it can't be the exterior covering unless it is covered by vertical or horizontal wood lap or siding, metal siding that is made to look that way. It may stucco, brick, things like that, but it does, as worded, it does not allow for you to put sort of partially or trim it out that way. You can, of course, amend the ordinance to read however you'd like for it to read.
well, that's the discussion we've had with Jeff also.
Right.
Right.
About his building, so.
Correct. But that gets exposed to another layer because there's a CRA layer there as well.
Right.
Right, so this is straight C1, that's the ordinance as it reads, for commercial zoning as well as what else?
Everything but C2, I1, and P zone districts have that requirement. So basically, most of the
And this
city.
building is not in the CRA district, so it's not
Right.
impacted that way, it's only impacted by our current ordinance.
And that's also for even the rear wall,
Yes,
according to
sir.
the ordinance?
Yes, sir. It does not differentiate what rear is, or if it's on a corner, or if it's.
There's straight metal buildings right behind there, too.
Right.
Those, I believe, were put in before this ordinance.
Yeah.
And then how does that affect it, because it was,
This
it's a
ordinance came about
rebuild?
because of that.
Does that affect it at all, Bob?
I think the building itself is full demo, wasn't it?
It was completely
demo.
destroyed,
Yeah.
yeah.
So once you do that, you build the current code.
Well,
You should have
I-
left one pole.
Except for the carport.
There was nothing
Carport's
left.
still there.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, the carport's there.
Yeah, does that count?
Total cost of repair exceeds 50%, then you're.
Well, personally, I would like to readdress that ordinance, because I think that's a little extensive for the metal buildings. I think, doing the front facade and maybe 25% of each of the sidewalls, unless it's on a corner, and then both sidewalls on a corner, so that, the aesthetics would look good. But that's just my thought.
You all can probably speak more to this, but this ordinance was created in 2007, and there may be advancements in the metal buildings and what can be done to make them look nicer than
Yeah,
the
there
old
is, it just
hangar.
costs a lot, so. It's just a big cost for the
I meant
owners.
partial as opposed to
Mhm.
covering
Yeah,
everything.
yeah, for sure. Where we're at right now, just a drive-it system, got 4 systems, a drive-it system, a foam board with a foam and a skim of stucco, a hardy board, which hardy board looks like hardy board, so. A Dura rock with a foam stucco, and I don't have all the numbers yet, but the best system is the drive-it system, and it's the most expensive, of course. But I think the Dura rock probably with a foam and a skim on it was probably going to be a way to go, but I'm still working on it, so. I just wanna know from you, what exactly do I gotta
Well, we have to
cover?
change the ordinance to make it work.
Can you give them a sort of a ballpark estimate of what the additional cost in coming up with one of these alternatives?
You're looking at about $12, $13 a square foot to cover with stucco, with, drive it, or either one of those. When you order a building that's already designed like that, it's probably about a 40% increase for the panel versus what the R panel is. Just a whole bunch of different design.
Yeah.
Can you give a dollar amount to that, John? On this one?
On this one is 47,000.
Additional.
Additional. Just this system here has cost more than the structure.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That is intense.
Yeah.
Well, how about the Durock with the stuff?
The Durock, I don't have the numbers back yet, but it's gonna be, I'm guessing, $8 to $10 a square foot. I'm not sure yet.
So it's still 25,000.
It's still a lot.
30.
Costs about $3.80 square foot for the R panel installed, to buy the panel and install it. And with this stuff on top of it is gonna be, at $10, you're still $13, $14 a square foot. It's
I mean,
huge.
Food for thought on this is just from a perspective of, you know, I could say a rectangular or a square building is a rectangular or square building. So unless you're doing something to the design of the exterior, right? So putting in windows and or canopies or something like that to give it some look, because the whole purpose of this ordinance was the aesthetic value.
Right.
Right?
Yep.
So if you're still able to construct it out of metal, let's say, from an exterior perspective, if you can add dimension or something to the building, make it,
We've
you
added-
know, and
Well,
I
there's
know there,
storefront
I know
windows,
there are
right?
costs there, but.
Well, we've added awnings to it, windows.
Right.
Oh, you have?
A nice storefront, all that's already
So
designed.
that may be a way to accomplish
Yeah.
the end result for everybody, if council's amenable to some kind of exploration of that. Because you could put up a rectangular block building.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
There's no character.
The struck block or something,
Right.
it'd be ugly, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm with you there.
But you're gonna have windows. The other building had, like showroom windows and stuff.
It had a storefront, a door.
Right, yeah.
This is gonna have windows on two sides.
And a couple overhead
Storefront.
doors too?
Yeah, with the awning above.
Yeah.
It's gonna look nice.
Yeah.
Plus a different color with different trim.
Sure.
It's gonna be a nice building. But we can, I mean, I got any problem doing whatever has to happen. I just don't wanna have to do the whole.
Yeah. Well, so it's the aesthetics and it's surrounded by, it's the same thing as we're doing with Jeff. It's
Right.
surrounded by metal buildings.
Right, yeah.
It just bothers me that we have to make our business people pay so much money to operate, especially when the building that burned down didn't have any of that stuff.
Exactly.
Well, I think that's, I mean, and I agree to a point, but I still think the aesthetic side of it is to, you know, you can dress it up to a point.
Yeah.
And
So
I think
I'm
just
not
going
saying
back to
not
saying,
doing anything,
just
but
going
I'm-
back to just a metal building again,
Yeah.
I don't agree with that, cause
So
I think
I'm
that's
not-
what we wanna do for the city, is
Yeah.
to keep the beautification
I
side.
agree.
I think
Yeah.
maybe if you wanna look at changing that ordinance, is John, I mean, he's been in this, how long you been in that business, you know?
Long time.
So he's got some ideas that, from
Yeah.
a metal building standpoint,
Mhm.
that
Well-
maybe there's something that can be a better, you can look at a better design and
Right.
to help
Well, I
Jeff.
can give
on
you
it.
3D models and that kinda stuff. You can see what it's gonna look like.
Yeah, so I think that's a really good idea to
Yeah.
go with
You know,
the
if you
the
wanna
guy
take a
who's the
look at that,
pro.
I know in the city, I remember when the city council put that in, it was, you know, metal building, nothing on the metal building looks like a metal building except for the roof,
Yeah,
And,
that's insane.
so.
Yeah, especially on the back wall of the thing.
Well, if you can't see it from the street, I think that's a different.
Well,
you know.
but,
Yeah.
but you can see it from some street, you
Right.
know, so.
Not
But I
that
like the idea of him working with us to come up with a plan
Right,
to
yeah,
Now, to
rectify
change
the
that ordinance is
situation.
not gonna happen quick, that's the problem.
Yeah,
No, I agree.
So-
But for right now, the ordinance says I gotta cover the whole building.
Yes, sir.
That's what I gotta do.
If you're gonna keep on moving, if they can hold
Well,
on.
we're gonna keep moving, but how long?
yeah.
It's gonna take several weeks.
Oh,
2
for
months.
sure.
2 months?
It'd take a
They
couple
meet
months
twice
to
a month,
change it.
and he takes 2 meetings.
Well, you
to
gotta
pass
develop the
ordinance.
ordinance first, too.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you on the construction part of that, can you do the basic metal building and then add on
Sure.
as to what we pass in that ordinance?
Yeah.
So that would allow you to still continue to
The
move on.
building's already designed like it is.
But understanding that whatever we decide in the end,
Yeah.
that
You can
you're
add it
gonna have to
anytime.
add that on.
Mhm.
Would that be reasonable with you guys?
Yeah, do you have a picture of it that you can show us what it's gonna look like right now before you have to do anything? Like with
I
the.
do, but I can send it to you. I don't
Well,
have
it's
it
not
pulled
gonna,
up.
it's not gonna make any difference. We still have an
Well,
ordinance.
I understand that, but I was just
And I
kinda
also have
curious.
I had a model that I had drawn up that shows with a band on the bottom and,
Yeah.
and the awnings and the storefront, different designs. It looks good, but still.
Right.
So Scott, how can we work with him in this regards to come up with a plan?
I think work with,
Greg?
Greg.
Okay.
And, you know, back in 2007, this was an issue for the appliance store up north. What's the name?
Musselman's.
Musselman's, yes. And I think they were doing an addition, but the addition was like increasing, you know, the property or construction by 50% or something like that.
Right.
So they actually had to put in a, you know, like a knee wall, if you will, around the front of the building, if I remember right. Does that
Mhm.
sound right?
Yes.
Right? So,
Wayne's-
so, you know, that's, you know, obviously that's an approach to help
Sure.
the aesthetic side.
And I agree that we need to address the aesthetics. I'm not saying we don't.
Right.
But I think it needs to be reasonable. So if we can get these two guys to work together or maybe come up with something.
So, I've got a brief question for you. You know, we've issued the permit of everything for the shell with the agreement that he wouldn't put the metal up. The metal is the base layer if he does decide to put whatever the council decides, it's gonna go over the exterior anyway.
Yeah.
So can he go ahead and get that building
Yeah.
assembled, dry it in?
Absolutely.
So we'll release it for that.
Yeah.
And then he can come back and we can work through this ordinance.
So maybe
Yeah, it's
even
just
a
not getting a
temporary.
CO until we get that figured out.
Well, but you can work and then we can figure
Yeah,
something
just
out.
finish it.
Yeah, cause it
With
can
the
be a
exception of
steel,
the
it can be
outside.
a steel building. There's nothing that prohibits it from being a steel building. It's the
Just can't look like one.
And just for your information, great. And for y'all's information, I'm sure you probably realize this, but, you know, this project and Jeff's project are not the first two
No,
projects. We hear
it's
these
ongoing.
weekly, monthly, it's a
Yeah.
continuous conversation.
Yeah.
And, you know, I have a lot of people that understand the historic nature of the downtown area. They wanna see the spokes preserved. Everybody's happy with it. When I say the spokes,
Right.
the roads leading off the circle. When we get away from those areas, you know, if there's allowance to, you know, to dress these metal buildings up and still
Yeah.
allow it, it's going to encourage businesses to redevelop in this
Right.
area. Cause it's cost prohibitive for somebody to try to build a metal building and then put an EFS system on like what Dollar General did. Obviously, they can afford it, but for the average Joe, it's a hard thing.
And it looks nice, you know.
It does look nice.
It doesn't look nicer.
Except the parking lot looks terrible.
I believe it would with you.
It will.
Well, the thing about it, there's still buildings already there, where he, so it's.
Yeah.
It's a chance to improve.
Okay, so can you do
Right,
that then, work with him and,
So we'll go ahead and release it for them to dry the shell.
yeah, dry it
Get the
in, finish it
storefront
up.
Okay.
And I'll provide you with designs and the EFS system and models and all that for you to approve. See what it can look like. There's a lot of different ways you can build things.
Yeah.
Okay,
I can
well,
introduce
thanks
it
for.
To the other people.
And then,
Well-
yeah, maybe even give us some guidance on the wording, if you will,
Sure.
for the ordinance, so that,
Sure.
you know, we can keep the costs reasonable
Yeah.
for business people, but also keep the aesthetics reasonable.
Right, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good for that.
Appreciate
Thank you,
that.
appreciate it, thanks for coming in. Okey dokey, we'll move right on to the city attorney's business.
I have one item. With regard to the old Wachovia Bank building, council had asked for a work group to consider which way to move forward on analyzing that project as a potential new city hall. The idea of a construction manager at risk came up at one of the more recent council meetings. That group met today. The consensus is to move forward with a construction manager at risk style, which means you would request that you would rather hire someone on a qualifications basis rather. And what is proposed is a motion to instruct staff to issue the request for qualifications for the construction manager at risk, and include in that there's, the manager would only be undertaking it if they were to have a guaranteed maximum price of $2 million on the building, on the project. So it's signaling to those that might be interested what dollars you're willing to expend on the project.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Is that a motion?
This is about the same level of energy we had at the meeting
Yeah.
earlier today.
Yeah.
I thought, from that meeting earlier, I thought we were at more like 1.8 instead of
With
2 million.
10%.
With the 10.
With
Yeah, so
10%.
it would be 2. And the whole idea of this is to see if if we can get it done within this budget, and see how many people would approach us with this number. That's what we're trying to do, so.
This
But yeah,
helps
just
move
to-
it a step further.
Just to clarify though, because I know everybody wasn't at that meeting, but this is just for the city staff to put that out to see what interest we get back. So it's not really gonna cost us money except for the city staff to
Right.
put that proposal out.
Yes, sir, and you would not be bound to hire anybody, you would not be bound to start construction or anything like that. Those are all decisions to come further down the road.
Right. So we need a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, we got,
You made the motion?
yeah.
Okay.
So we got a motion.
Okay, I'll second it.
We have a second.
Got it.
Any comments from the audience? You gotta understand, this is just gonna cost a little bit of money for the staff. We're not committing to spending $2 million, so.
Well, we're gonna find out
R-
whether or not
Yeah, if it's
anybody's
feasible.
gonna, whether it's feasible through
Right,
this process.
right.
Because
Right.
if nobody comes forward,
We
you
know
have an
we're-
idea that you can't do this for $2 million.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Testing the waters.
I think we're gonna get plenty of reaction.
I do too. All right. Kathy, will you poll the board?
Yes, sir.
Please.
Detman. Ivy.
Yes.
Lawrence.
Yes.
Stewart.
Yes.
Carlisle.
Yes. Thank you. City administrator's business.
Agenda item 13A is a Department of Economic Opportunity General Infrastructure Program. This program falls on the heels of the hardening program that we applied for. And this would allow us to apply for grant money. My understanding is it's 100% for infrastructure type projects. We've listed several sanitary sewer, wastewater treatment plant, water projects, stormwater projects here. Carl Kuhl has been working with us on his continuing services contract to get those ready for Fred Fox to submit to DEO. So we wanted to make you all aware of that and get your approval to move forward with those applications. They are due by September 15th, I believe.
That's a really awesome list. I hope we're successful.
I hope we're successful
Yeah.
as well.
So I'll make a motion, we approve the city staff proceeding with the applications as presented.
I'll second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. We had 2 seconds, so that means a fourth.
You can have it.
Oh, I just heard him. I'm sorry.
Okay, oh, we
I
had
heard
3?
that.
Wow, okay. Huh? Yeah, who didn't second?
Do you want a Detman? Oh, I'll do it shoot.
Okay.
Is Detman okay for the second?
That's
Everyone
Yeah,
good? Okay.
yeah. I can't even see him, so.
I can hear him though.
Okay.
I can hear him. He's
Okay.
here.
He's usually sitting over here where I can see him. He's hiding out tonight.
There's too many people
Okay,
over there.
any comments from the audience? Any more up here?
I got a question, Scott. Did they put kind of a dollar value estimate what this would be? total?
These projects have to be at least $500,000 projects. And if I
Piece.
remember, yes, and if I remember right, the total application pool of money is like 670 million or something of that nature. These projects themselves, I'd have to go back to the paperwork, but there's, like the
4
wastewater
million.
treatment plant, that's a pretty significant one.
Yeah.
That's like $2 or $3 million.
Did Fred indicate kind of the probability that he thought, or you just kind of throw it on the, against the wall?
This is that new program, and you just we really don't
You
know
don't know.
how this is.
Okay.
You know,
It's a good thing we're doing this,
There's
so,
the award process, 50% can be LMI, which is low to moderate income, so he's driving some of these towards low to moderate income communities, if you will. And then 50% is urgent need. So the others that don't qualify for LMI, we'll submit them under urgent need. But this is, if it comes in the award, it could be Christmas.
Right.
You know,
Big time.
for the community.
Yep.
But we don't know yet, because
Yeah.
this is brand new. This has not really been done before, I don't think. So.
Okay.
Anyone else? Kathy? Poll the board.
Detman.
Yes.
Ivy.
Yes.
Lawrence.
Yes.
Stewart.
Yes.
Cardile.
Yep.
If you also, if you wouldn't mind, I'd like to give you an update on the boat ramp. We've heard from the contractor. Contractor's running about a week ahead of his original schedule. So he wants to close the boat ramp beginning August 24th.
Right before
That's
the
before
weekend.
Labor Day
That's a
weekend?
great time to start. So.
Yeah.
Well, it's 2 weekends before, actually. It was originally going to be closed starting September 1st, if you all recall.
Right, yeah.
Right.
So your phone number's written up there by the.
Menard Carlisle.
No,
I'm going
Ken's
downtown.
phone number's written.
Oh, wow.
He's on annual
Big
leave
shoulders.
that week, though.
Big shoulders, Ken.
So,
Put a sign up, closed by order of the mayor.
Of Lake Placid.
so it looks
Yeah,
like, given their
exactly.
schedule, they'll be done with all of their work, which will be the seawall, the boat ramp itself, all that stuff by September 21st. And then we'll just have the parking lot and earthwork and all the stuff associated with the parking lot to do after that. And we can kind of work with Tal on scheduling that so that it's really convenient, if you will, I think, for our residents.
I would just request that you notify people,
Yeah.
so that if they wanna put their boat in, especially the people that live on Lake Jackson.
Or get it
They can
out.
either put it in or get it out, depending on what they want, and not get caught 2 weeks early. And then also.
2 hurricanes on the horizon, you might want to pull it out before you put it in.
Don't even go there.
Scott, did you give it?
And that was the second part, was to have some kind of
September 21st.
contingency if a hurricane comes, that people can take their
Will we
boats
talk
out.
to the Elks Club at all if something happens?
I have a phone call into the
All
Elks
right.
Club.
In an
I
emergency
feel
situation.
like we'll be able to work with the Elks Club, but we are going to have to do some work on their boat ramp. So we've got to acquire a piece of equipment either from the county or somewhere in order to remove some of the soil that's on that boat ramp. But I think at the end of the day, we'll be able to.
Is the Elks Club in the CRA district?
Mm,
Yes.
Yes.
yes, they are. They're
Yes.
the end of it, so.
Just thought I'd throw that out there.
Wow. Wow.
Where's Christie's going?
Yeah, she
Yeah.
left.
Slum
That
and
can
blight.
go so many ways.
Yeah.
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 It's for sale too, you know that,
I
right?
know that.
They could buy it.
Yes.
Maybe the CRA will buy it, yeah.
Okay, you done?
County did discuss the offer today. Did we talk about this already?
Hey, we
No,
did over there.
We did there, but not here.
The county did discuss the offer today. They kicked it back to the county administrator to come up with a number. I think he's probably going to be looking in the range of those appraisals. So I think he's gonna be looking in the 800s range.
Shouldn't have said that publicly, so.
It doesn't
But-
matter.
But
Put a for sale sign out front.
That's it.
Maybe that'll encourage them a little.
Right.
Talk to the school board, they're looking for property.
Yeah.
Anyways, so, yeah, that midpoint was in the 800s range, if you'll
Yeah.
recall,
Okay.
of the appraisal, so. We'll see what they,
Did they make any comments in regards to the lease that we have back here with the, Bridgeport?
I don't think so. Did you, I don't think so.
No, no.
Okay.
It was a very short conversation.
Yeah, okay.
Pretty much said, we threw out the tax assessor's number,
Right.
and they pretty much says, well, that's their starting point, they're gonna let Randy kinda negotiate some, I think.
Yeah.
So.
I would just like to, as we all know, it's election day today, and I would like to encourage that you get together with Randy as soon as possible on this and move forward to the degree that you can, so that we don't have to start from square one with a new county commission. That's my comment.
Okay. All righty, well, last but certainly not least.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Make a motion to approve the
Wait
payment
a
of the
minute.
bills.
Council needs to approve the payment of the bills, please. That's the only thing I say all night.
Oh.
Jeez.
So moved.
Thank you.
That's early votes.
Take a second?
Second.
She winning.
Yeah, but that's early votes.
Okay, wow. Poll the board.
Detman. Ivy.
Yes.
Lorenz.
Yes.
Stewart.
Yes.
Carlisle.
Yes.